Every parent gets the same 24 hours, but it doesn't feel like it. For the longest time, my days feel split into just two modes: work and then trying to recover from work. And as a single dad with two kids, I was constantly drained. The evenings, they were just slipping away. I either waste time scrolling, zoning out, or just trying to catch up on stuff I didn't finish earlier in the day. And I wanted to use that time better, to actually be present with my girls, to take care of my body, to make progress on something that mattered. The turning point was when I looked around one night and just suddenly realized I was wasting too much time. Time that I couldn't get back, and I had to figure out a better way. So I tested things. I simplified it. I felt a lot. I adjusted, and eventually I found 7 things that has helped me stop wasting my evenings and actually use them. Practical habits that have helped me show up better as a parent and as a person to build a better life. So the first thing I changed, I stopped letting social media control my brain. I didn't quit cold turkey or delete all my apps. Instead, I checked what platforms were actually helping me and which ones were stealing my time. I personally decided to stick to just YouTube. Every other app, I either deleted it or I logged out. Because every extra feed, notifications, every scroll, that's one more opportunity to fall into another rabbit hole. And as a parent, especially as a single dad, I just don't have that kind of time or mental energy to waste. So on YouTube, I made it super focused. I only follow creators who have helped me grow in the areas that matter most to me. So my health, my wealth, relationship, growing my YouTube channel, building a business, and just starting a community. If someone's content doesn't serve me, I don't follow them. No exceptions. But even with that, the YouTube algorithm still try to pull me off track. So I use a Chrome extension called Unhook. It removes all distractions on the platform like home feed, recommendations, and even comments if I want. That way I'm on there with purpose. I search exactly what I want to learn, watch 1 or 2 videos max, and then leave. No scrolling, no bouncing from one thing to the next. And to make sure I don't get sucked in other sites and apps, I use the Freedom app. It blocks out the distractions during my times like when I'm working, editing, and spending time with my kids. It's designed my environment to protect me from myself. Once I finally cut out all the noise, I wasn't comparing myself to random people no more. I wasn't getting pulled in 100 different directions. I could actually focus on what I was learning, what I was building, and who I was becoming. So no, I didn't diss the internet and social media. I just turned it into a tool that works for me instead of against me. On top of social media, the second thing I did was clean up who I was following and made it a habit every couple of weeks. So most people think social media is just entertainment or background noise, but it seriously affects how you think, how you feel, how you show up. If you are opening your feed and you start feeling anxious, behind, or annoyed, you need to pay close attention. It wasn't what I was consuming, it was who I was letting into my head. There were people I followed because I always had old friends, influencers, creators who were doing things I didn't even care about anymore. Now, some of them weren't bad, but their content just made me feel scattered, distracted, or like I wasn't doing enough. And that's not the mindset I want to bring into my evenings or into parenting. So I started unfollowing. No announcement, no drama, just quick clicks. Unfollow, you can mute, unsubscribe. And when it was someone I cared about but didn't want to offend, I just muted them. And it's not personal. It was about protecting my focus, my energy, and my peace. And I call it the feed cleanse. So every couple of weeks, I go through who I was following and ask one question. Does this account help me grow, feel more grounded, or stay aligned with my goals? And if the answer is no, it's gone. When I started doing this, I noticed an immediate shift in how I felt at night. I was less irritated, less distracted, and when I spend my time online, it actually made me feel inspired instead of drained. It's such a simple move, but it's always powerful because you can't always control your day, but you can control what shows up in your feed. And for me, especially as a dad who's already carrying a lot, that digital clarity created more space for me to think, to relax, and to actually enjoy the time I have with my kids. The third thing was learning to apply what I consume. So it's very easy to watch helpful videos, read insightful posts, and then think, oh, that's pretty good information right there. But then nothing changes. I used to save a ton of bookmarks thinking I'll watch it later, but I never did. Now I have a rule. If I learn something useful, I try to apply it within 24 hours. So like this YouTube channel, for example. Since I'm new to being a YouTube creator, there's always something to improve. There's titles, thumbnails, hooks, retentions. There's always a lever I could pull. And instead of just sitting on that knowledge, I test it. For example, I watched a tip about moving key phrases of the YouTube title to another area, and that will help me get better search engine results. I took action and updated one of my videos that same day of learning, and overnight, my impressions jumped up and I got more views. The point is, I applied what I learned and it gave me results right away. Even small wins like that motivate me to keep learning. And that's the fun part, seeing the result of something you just learned in real time. I really love the idea of getting 1% better. That mindset has become like a core part of how I approach my evenings. If I can apply even one thing I learned, just one tweak, I would be better than I was yesterday. And when you stack that day after day, it adds up fast. So now my evenings aren't about cramming more in, they're about slow, steady growth. Learn something, try it, observe what happens, and then repeat. The fourth big thing was rethinking how I spend my evening after dinner. So for a long time, my routine was the same. Me and the kids would eat dinner, clean up, and then go straight to watching TV and while I was using my phone as well. It felt like the easiest way to wind down, especially after a long day of work and parenting. The kids were relaxed and I didn't have to think much and it gave me a break. But in the back of my mind, I knew something felt off. I wasn't really enjoying it because I knew I wasn't using that time wisely and it didn't line up with who I was trying to become. I sit there thinking, I could be learning something useful. I could be doing something more fun, more memorable with my kids instead of just zoning out. But day after day, I kept falling into the same routine. Eventually, I decided to not be reactive anymore. So I started time blocking everything. And I mean everything, not just for work, not just for chores. I blocked out time for things that felt small, that actually matter, like playing tag with my kids, doing silly art projects, even reading books to my kids before bedtime. Time blocking helped me realize that rest in the evening doesn't have to mean do nothing. Rest can mean being present, laughing, bonding, do something simple that makes the night feel meaningful. It also gave me a sense of control. Instead of defaulting to what was easy, I started choosing what was worth it. Now, my evenings aren't something I just drift through, right? They're built around what matters most. My energy feels better, my kids are happier, and so am I. Something else that changed the game for me, the fifth thing, was being more social on purpose. As a single parent, it was hard. I couldn't just go out and meet friends whenever I wanted. Most nights, I was home with my daughters, and even when I did have free time, I was either too tired, too behind on work, or I just was not in the mood to go socialize. There were long stretches where I barely talked to anyone outside of my work and my kids. I wasn't lonely in a dramatic way, but I definitely felt disconnected. Sometimes I would scroll through social media and see other people hanging out, having fun, and I think, man, I missed that too. So I had to adapt. Instead of trying to force hangouts or waiting for friends to check in, I made an intentional shift towards online connection. I started reaching out to people who were on similar journeys, entrepreneurs, YouTubers, and other single dads. I sent direct messages to YouTubers after watching their video. I joined a few online communities where people talk about the same goals. I didn't overthink the process. I just showed up and started socializing. And what's so great about meeting people online was that some of these conversations were deep. We talked about raising kids, battling distractions, trying to stay disciplined, figuring out what's actually worth our time. It was great meeting people that just gets it and know what I'm going through. And when I started helping others too, like sharing my own routines and mistakes and system, it gave me purpose. I was contributing to a community. Even now, I keep those connections alive. I send a short message, hop on short video calls, or just check in when I can. And the beautiful thing is, those small moments compound. There are other people pushing through the same struggles, and we're all figuring it out together. So, no, I don't go out as much, and I don't have weekly meetups or dinner parties, but I built a new community that I could chat with online that's supportive in my goals. The sixth thing that made a big difference was building a simple wind down system that works for me. I don't like candles or do anything fancy. What I do instead is I reset my space and my mind so I can actually sleep without overthinking everything I didn't finish that day. Right after the kids go to bed, I clean up my desk. It sounds small, but it helps me feel like I'm closing the day out. I put things back where they are, I throw away any trash, and I just clear the surface. That way, when I sit down in the morning, I'm starting fresh. I'm not walking into chaos. Then I open up my Google Calendar, I look at tomorrow, and I block it out hour by hour, including personal stuff like going to the gym, walking the kids to the bus stop, or working on YouTube. I make sure the day reflects what actually matters to me. And lastly, I stay consistent by doing this seventh thing. I set a bedtime alarm. My phone alarm always goes off at 9 p.m. as a hard reminder to stop whatever I'm doing. Because if I don't set that boundary, I'm going to keep working, keep tweaking things, keep thinking, and then regret it the next morning. That one alarm has saved me more time than I can count. It's my signal to shut everything down, rest, and get ready to go again tomorrow with intention. It helps me keep a consistent schedule. It gives me my 7 hours of sleep so that I will have energy for my kids, my work, and my ambitions. Ending the day with order so I can start the next one without friction. So here's what I learned after testing these 7 things. Treat your evening as prime time for building the life you want. And if you don't protect that time, it disappears fast. That doesn't mean you need to hustle all night. It means using that window after work, after dinner, after the kids are in bed with intention. Whether that's improving your skills, spending meaningful time with your family, resting properly, or just thinking clearly for the first time. Most parents feel like the day controls them, and I used to feel that way too. But once I started making small, consistent changes to how I use my evenings, everything shifted. I became more focused, I started growing again, I showed up better for my kids, for my work, and for myself. So if your nights have been on autopilot, consider this your sign. You don't need a major overhaul, you just need one small change tonight. You can block 30 minutes to do something that actually matters to you. That's how it starts, and once it starts, it's gonna snowball. Your time is limited, but what you do with your evenings, that's where you take your power back. So thank you for watching. You can check out my next video to keep improving.